Now on screen, let me make sure my sound is good. Okay, still waiting for the stream to catch up. All right, there we go. We good. All right, sorry for the delay. Had personal problems that I had to take care of, so I shifted the show to 10 o'clock instead of 9:30. But we're here. We're ready to get started. Um, First off, let me start off. Welcome, excuse me. Welcome to Atlanta DJ Zone Tech Tuesday Live. Is a DJ Tech podcast that usually goes beyond tech. We can go into legal, we can go into the business, the brand, marketing, whatever it is out there that DJs want to know, that I may know, and some of you guys may want to share. And so I host this podcast right here where sometimes I have live guests to join me on screen to interact and share their opinions as for what goes on. Now, tonight's topic is a last minute thing, something that, of course, that it either pops in my mind on Monday or Sunday or sometimes even this morning, but something usually pops into my mind and I'm like, okay, let me make a topic about it. So here's what happened, that one thing that gave me the idea. There was in the zone group, there was a young lady, female DJ. She had issues with a laptop and she went out and bought a new laptop. She bought I think a brand new MacBook Pro or whatever. But anyway, she bought a new laptop and I guess that she was in a hurry. She didn't have time to test it. She didn't have time to actually the biggest thing that she didn't do was install the drivers. I guess she thought that it was plug and play. All you have to do is install Serato, and either there were no drivers or the drivers would be installed, which is false. With mostly any software that you use that uses either, well, no, mostly all software that you use, unless the operating system has has default drivers in it, will require drivers. In the case for DJ stuff, mostly everything, if it's not a keyboard or mouse or something to that fact that doesn't require specific drivers, or the operating system may carry the drivers with it, you're going to need drivers, especially stuff like DVS mixers, controllers, MIDI controllers, anything that you connect USB to would pertain to the DJ equipment. You're going to need drivers. You're going to need drivers. And what I want to say about that to begin with is always go to the manufacturer's website for the drivers first. Go to the manufacturer's website because they may have a different driver that you may need, that the actual program may refer you to, especially if you're on a specific operating system. So the driver that the software may refer you to may be whatever driver that they had at that time to recommend to you. But there may be a newer or updated driver that you may need to go to. So, like I said, always go to the manufacturer's website. So, of course, I missed this. I missed this post and I didn't see it till the next day. So I didn't respond as for somebody that was posting at the time she was having an issue. Now, also the fact that since there were no drivers and her controller was telling her that she needed drivers. She couldn't use her cell phone as a hotspot to download the drivers, which made that a big issue because if she wanted to stream maybe like a Mixcloud account or somewhere to play music while she got stuff situated, she couldn't do that either because she was in a rural area where she didn't have a good signal. So at that point, she was out of luck. A lot of things people told her to do. There's specific cables that you can connect and be able to play through your phone. What I'm going to talk about today is, and like I said, how I replied in the future. And if for those of you that don't know, when it comes to me giving out information, I treat you as if you are Ebenezer Scrooge and I'm the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future. I may tell you stuff that you already know. That's the past. I may tell you stuff that you want to know right now to answer your specific question. That's the present. And I will also give you tips of stuff that may come to you in the future. So, past, present, and future is usually what you can expect when you ask me a question. If if I have that information, I may just tell you the present and be done with it. I may tell you the present and the future be done with it. I may just tell you the past and the present and be done with it. But that's that's just me. I'd rather just go ahead and just give you all the information, no BS, and so you won't have any problems later on down the line. Or if you run into a problem, you can be like, "Oh yeah, he did tell me that this may happen, and I need to do this, this, and this." So I always try to keep people prepared of what unforeseen circumstances that may come. So on on that point, she didn't have the audio drivers. She couldn't use a cell phone as a hotspot. I'm not exactly how the event turned out and what did she do, but my post, which was the next day, it was based on you know future stuff. It was like or present and future. Okay, this is what you need to do now to so it won't happen again, and to make sure other stuff down the line that I also mentioned. So then at that point, it came into my mind to maybe I need to put this out a little bit more, but there was a certain device that for some reason veered its head up out of people in the group. Hold on a second. That was something that was debated a long time ago. And that's this device right here, the DBX Go Rack. Now, this little handy device can be very, very, a very, very valuable tool to have on you whenever you're out there gigging in an emergency circumstance. And when I get to those points, that's why I bring it up. But anyway, this item came up in the group and a whole new conversation started about it. I'm like, okay, I had two of these and I only actually have one now. The one that I'm using right now is a studio use version that I use to monitor my output for the speakers that I have, and I use 15-inch Mackie Thumps or Mackie Thumps 15As that I have at each corner that I use for not only for the for my computer speakers, but as for all the sound in in the studio at all the workstations or whatever. Even though I have near field monitors that flank me, I got a set of powered ones, 2020, just 2020. These are not the BAS. The BASs are in Studio One, but I have a set of 2020 that flank me at the station I'm at now. And then I got a set of I think a PS6, PS6s that are on the back near the Mackie thumps. But this go rack right here is used for when I need to immediately mute everything. I can hit the mute button, and then also the the uh, the anti-feedback for the mic, like the mic I'm using right now to prevent it from feeding back into the speakers. And even if I use a handheld or my snowball mic, it prevents the feedback from it to where necessarily, as you can see, whenever I'm doing the show, I don't wear headphones. And so that helps me out a whole lot because I do not need to wear headphones while I'm doing the show or earbuds, and I can still hear the audio and it won't feed back into my mic. So that this right here is important too, and I get into the uses in just a short bit. Before I get ready to start, let me see who's out there. Let me look at the comments real quick before I jump into the first topic. All right, got my man DJ Eric Prince live from Harlem, 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 Harlem. What's going on, Eric? All right, let's see. Oh man, that right there is that that will be the piece that everybody would know me by. You could call me the DJ Ghost. Well, no, don't call me DJ Ghost because there's somebody named DJ Ghost. The DJ Tech Ghost, or whatever. I'm sure somebody will come up with some crazy ass name for it. But that I like to use analogies. I like to use analogies, and that was an analogy that I came up with. They're like, okay, that fits. When you ask me a question, I treat you like you're Ebenezer Scrooge. And I'm gonna take you on a journey. I may go into stuff you already know. I'm gonna go into what you want to know today, and I may share with you some of the stuff that you may need to know down the line. And it's not just with text. I do that with everybody. I do it with my wife. I do it with my kids. I even do it with complete strangers. Whenever somebody asks me something, like you may say, somebody may be stranded on the side of the road, and I may help them with their vehicle. I may say, okay, are you familiar with changing a tire? Have you changed a tire before? That's past stuff if they know how to do it. I'm like, okay, you know how to do it. Well, make sure you lock the brakes. That may be something that they forgot, that I may see that they may overlook. I'm like, okay, pull your parking brake up. Boom. That's present. We got the past because they know how to change a tire. Boom. We got the present because they didn't realize that they didn't have the parking brake. Parking brake is not pulled, so that can be a dangerous thing. And then I may also say, okay, there's a gas station down the mile, or there's a roadblock stop, or whatever. I may give them a heads up after they leave, and say that there's something ahead, something coming up, something in the future, or whatever. Let me see. You got something that you said here. Let me jump to this one. Tell the youngins, tell it to the youngins. Oh man, I tell it all the time. That's probably where I got it from. I probably got it from just having kids, because I don't remember, having this analogy or even this type of conversation with people where I'm sharing this much information. I used to just say, tell people what they need to go and move the hell on. Just keep it moving. So yep, that's something that I like to use with analogy. Okay, got Jamal Wolf. What's up, Jamal? What's going on? Got a couple of hard drives that won't pull up on my 2017 MacBook Pro. Now that's and then you said hello after you asked the question. Okay, yeah. Okay. So this, if I have time, because like I say, I didn't, what I should have did, and I thought about it, but I didn't have time because I had too much stuff going on. Um, Even at the point where I thought about this, I should have did a post to all the groups and just say, okay, what do you use? What do you consider emergency? And y'all can go ahead, put in the comments what items, what do you have in your tool bag that's important? Emergency essential. In case that something dies or something fails or whatever. I mean, that I could have started that list and it would have still been going on probably next week. So go ahead, add some stuff in there because you may have some stuff that I probably won't list, but I can go ahead and list and I give you a shout out if it's something, seriously. I give you a shout out if it's something that you list that I didn't think about, or that may not be on my mind or whatever. So opinions are helpful. So make sure if you got something that that you want to share, put it in the comments. Put it in the comments, and I'll get to that. But as for your question, if I have time after I finish this, then I will jump into the hard drive info. There's not that much hard drive info, that stuff that I didn't leave out from last time. There's just only like a little bit, which I can get into that first, but I'd rather go ahead and get this out of the way because I don't know how long it's going to take me. And then, I'll just add that part at the end. But as I do always, let me take my sip. And I was eating dinner down here. So if y'all heard me smacking, that was me eating. Still didn't finish, but I'll be good. So let me take a sip of I got lemonade and water. I've been working out. I'm on doing Body Beast. I'm on week 2 or 3, somewhere like that. I'm playing catch up because after the Moderna shot that I took last week, I had to take it easy because my arm was hurting. So I kind of took a couple days off, which ended up being the whole week. So now I'm pushing hard. I'm pushing like a week's worth of exercise in 2 3 days. And I know some people say you're not supposed to do that, but that's me. I will push the threshold over, even if it's supposed to be one exercise a day, which I don't agree with. I'd rather go ahead and knocking out a couple exercises, maybe take a day off, then start another, especially if it's different body parts or whatever that you're working out. So that's what I've been working on. So if you see me next week and I look like the dark skinned version of Dwayne Johnson, then it's working. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Take this damn intro off and let's move into the first topic. And like I said, I don't have a lot of, and what I'm gonna do in the what I'm gonna do later on, whenever I can get around to editing, I'm gonna add photos and stuff. I'm gonna add stuff either right here or over here, a box to where items that I'm talking about, I can add images. I'm gonna add images. So I only got a few stuff. I may even just go and do like what I usually do. I open up a website and pull up links of items from their web pages or just on the internet in general. But I may later on, you may see stuff right on this side of me in a box. Yeah, right here. Yeah, right along here somewhere. That'll be hovering that you can see what I'm talking about. Also, I'm gonna be doing um, Amazon referral. Uh, it's not called referral. Amazon, the Amazon links to where I can get maybe monetized for for anything that you buy that I recommend or whatever. So be out looking for that too, because I need to get back into that to make a little extra cash side hustle or whatever. So let's go ahead and get started. And the first one, and the way that I'm going to explain it, if you haven't read the body of the post that I've been sharing, or even the body of this YouTube video, that I have basically the topics that I'm going to list. Now, I only have maybe like 4 that I posted. I may add more as they come, but these 4 are going to be the line of chain. And we starting out with the first one, emergency essentials. In the case your laptop or your computer fails, failure of your computer or laptop, which this wasn't the issue at that time that the person had, but I also thought about not only mentioning like the issue that she had was with her hardware as for her controller. But let's go ahead and list, okay, you may have mentioned that, but what happens if you have a laptop that don't work? So that's what we're doing right now. We're doing the laptop and computers. Now, first off, what do you have in your gear bag? Let's get to that point first. For every point, we need to look at what essentials or what extra gear or cabling or whatever that you have in your bag that applies to each of the topics that I'm covering. So in this case, what one thing that you may want to have, and I have one here to use as an example, is you may want to have if you're using Mac, you may want to have an additional charger. Now, I've seen posts where people have forgotten their chargers and left them at home. That's the worst thing. Well, no, that's not the worst thing you could do. The worst thing that can happen is if you're on and if you use an external hard drive, say for instance, like this one, if you use an external drive like this, but you leave this at home, that could probably be the worst thing, especially if you don't have any music internally or if you don't have a streaming service. But we'll get into that in a minute too. But the thing is, with the laptop, your charger. Make sure you go out and get you an extra charger. I bought some extra charger and I even have an extra one here. If anybody needs one, I got an extra charger still in the brought box. It's still sealed. Hit me up after the show and we could talk about pricing and to get it to you or whatever. But at one point, even though I'm not an active DJ, I don't do events or gigs, but I like to be able to take my MacBook from here out of the studio, maybe go sit on the couch in the family room, or have my MacBook in bed with me while I'm in bed. I don't like disconnecting the chargers and then moving them about. What I did, I just bought extra chargers just to have plugged whenever I need it. And that same thing applies in the house here with lightning cables because uh, four four out of five people in this house are Apple users. My wife, she's the only one that doesn't have Apple. She was Apple back with the Apple 3. After that, she went all Android. I'll say a prayer for her. But anyway, she went all Android and she's been Android since. Even got some of her little Android bodies lying around here. Android Galaxy Note 3. Her her Android corpses. That's what they're called because they're not really used that much. Nobody don't really use them. So make sure you have extra chargers. Get you at least an extra charger and keep it in your bag at all times. At least one. So when you're starting the gig, it comes out of your bag, plugs in and use it. When you finish, back into your bag. Or depending on the type of case that you have, uh, um if you have like a coffin style case with a sliding drawer, attach that mug, glue it up under the controller or up under the case, Firmly attach it, especially if that's a controller that you use all the time. Make sure that is attached and that it's always there. That way you would never have to worry about that one being lost. And like I said, I've seen many times before where people have left their chargers at home and they are like miles and miles away. There's no DJs in sight that can bring them one, or maybe nobody will reply in time to get one to them. So with that issue, then the only thing that you can run to a Target, you can run to a Best Buy, you can run to, I don't even know if I've never seen MacBook chargers in Walmart, but if Walmart has it, you can run in there and get you one, but you're gonna spend a grip for it. I mean, yeah, you can get it, use it, return it, but you're gonna spend at least the minimum, probably $60 to $80 for a charger. So the better thing is to go on Amazon. Like I said, I will share some links to some chargers. I think the ones that I have here are Amazon chargers. I have not had any problems with them. I will share those links and you can get them there because they're good. They're good chargers. Even the aftermarket chargers. I know they said always stay with Apple, but you don't have to necessarily. Now that I mentioned Apple, also, if you're on Windows PC, you want to make sure that you have extra chargers. Now, with me, I have chargers. I have chargers that I use for like in the car. It has a cigarette lighter plug to it, and I can keep the laptop charged in the car. So you may want to have one of those chargers that's like that. And I'm trying to get my hands on the box because I do have an actual charger. You want to get you a charger, and this one is one that came from Best Buy. Find you a generic charger. Make sure that the wrong place. Make sure that the voltage or the wattage is the right wattage within the range for your laptop. And what these come with, they come with a wide assortment of tips that that are interchangeable between different type of laptops. So as for with the MacBook, if you're using Windows, make sure you get an extra charger for it. And like I said, either keep it in your case, either keep it in your case with your controller, or keep it in your gear bag, or your wherever you keep your laptop. But this one has a whole bunch of tips in it. I think I only use one out of here, maybe two. But these are interchangeable with a lot of different type of laptops. Now, with the MacBooks, make sure that you're getting the right one that you need for the type of MacBook. Which basically after mid 2012, the adapters on them changed, and then somewhere else down the line when everything went Thunderbolt, which I think was like maybe 15 or something like that. Then then you also want to make sure that you get one of those because those are USB-C. And the thing with those, USB-C or Thunderbolt, which is basically the same, Thunderbolt 3. And with that one, the difference in the new MacBooks that uses the Thunderbolt is that you can't just use a regular USB-C and a USB-C type charger. The current and the voltage for it is for a MacBook Pro. The current and voltage that you may use for, say, to charge up your phone or whatever is different. So it won't charge up and it may damage it. So make sure that you get the right charger, which right now, the current MacBook Pros that people use, there's three different types of chargers. And just make sure that you get the right one that you need. Now, besides that, the next important thing, your hard drive. Now, this is the reason that I don't like to use I don't like to use externals because you can easily forget them. They can be dropped. They can be lost. So much can happen, and then there's so many issues that happen with people at connection point. This external drive can be used like on several different laptops, several different computers, but when I get to a vent or plug it in or whatever, it will not work or it takes a long time to recognize. So with me, I like to always keep my music internally on the laptop itself. It's faster. You have less things that you have to worry about, and it's a hassle of having external drives and then stuff happens. So make sure that you have, and this was probably mentioned back in several other videos, several of these. Just like you have backup MacBook and laptop chargers, also have backup external hard drives if that's what you use. Even if you're using an internal, just keep an external in case that one fails. But make sure that it's an exact clone of it. So whenever you update your internal, make sure you update all your externals so that they will connect properly or whatever. Especially if you have your setup like mine. So make sure that you do that. And then also the thing, if you haven't done it today, if you haven't done it recently, and this is a future tip, I'm talking to you, Ebenezer. Future tip: back up your shit now. Back it up, back it up, back it up. Because I guarantee you, somebody probably within the next week, I'm gonna see a post and I'm gonna be like, damn. And I'm gonna point somebody out that's watching now. I'm gonna tag somebody to it and say, "You see what I'm talking about? Back up, back up." So make sure, no matter what you're using, back up your external, back up your internal, back up your operating system. If you're using Mac, use Time Machine. If you're using Windows, either use the default backup for Windows or purchase or download a backup program so you can back it up. But anyway, back it up, back it often, back it up regularly. And next thing we'll go into is cables, extra cables. Make sure that you have extra cables that you need to connect whatever, and this should be listed in hardware, but I'm gonna go ahead and put this out now. I'm just gonna say cables, and then I'm gonna get into, because this cable right here probably falls in line more with the next topic I have. So I'm just gonna say cables. And let me see, laptop, let's see what else for laptop. I think that's probably about it for laptop that I can think of. Um, Charger, external hard drive, backup. That's probably about it. Everything else is probably going to relate more to my next topic as for directly with the laptop. So making sure you have a charger, make sure you have your external drive or external drives, and those are the two most important things that you want to know, especially about that. Now, let me jump in because I got some comments. Sorry, I'm not catching up with the comments in real time, trying to stay on topic, but I'm gonna jump in. All right, Jamal. Oh, damn. Okay, I don't know what that related to, but all right. Let's see. Got Alan here. What's up, Alan? Haven't seen you here in a minute, man. Hope everything's good with you. You keep a couple of 1/8 TRS cables in your bag. That will be brought up later. You had another question or another comment. So there was an issue with my controller or so if there was an issue with my controller or software, I can connect. Okay, you was talking about with that and play internal. Now I'm gonna get into that in a minute. Now, so right now, this is closing off failure with the laptop. is making sure that you have your external drive and I thought I had my charger for that laptop, and here it is. And also making sure that you have your charger. And this one is the actual charger for this. So this is this charger. And this is a secondary charger. The original charger, the tip on it got damaged, and what I need to do, I need to splice another tip on it. So I will have this one as a backup, and I don't have to carry this one around. I can just put it in a bag and leave it there, and don't have to worry about it. So this closes up laptop and computer failures. Wait, there is something that I want to mention, and I probably didn't get into it. I just mentioned stuff. Now let me go into scenarios. Let me go into scenarios that may save you in a pinch at the time. And this is we're going from a laptop or a computer. All right, let's say let's start off first. You forgot your charger and you're running on maybe 2-3 hours battery, but your event that you're running is 4 to 6 hours. So basically your charger, your laptop is going to die out before your event. Here's what you need to do. And this really doesn't matter what type of computer that you're on. At this point, go and shut down all resources that you don't need. Turn off Wi-Fi, turn off Bluetooth, anything that you can turn off that you don't need. Turn it off because it drains battery life. Also, turn down the brightness. If you have a MacBook with the lighted keyboards, turn it all the way down. Even turn down the brightness on your screen because that draws energy. There's fluorescent tubes, so there's LEDs in the backlit of your laptop that illuminates out. So the less light, when you make it into a low consumption issue or circumstance, then you're saving energy, which also will save power. At that point, you may also want to conserve how much that you use. You may want to prepare your phone or your tablet by uploading music to it to where you can take over and play at certain circumstances and turn the laptop down or close the lid to conserve power there. Um, well, yeah, that's it for that. If you don't have a charger, there's I can't think of no MacGyver hack that I can tell you to where you can get around that. The only thing I can tell you is shut stuff down that you don't need running. If you're on a Windows and if you have the antivirus open, shut that bitch down. Shut it down now. Shut anything down that you don't need running at that time. And like I said, if you got lighted keyboards, turn down the brightness on your screen. If you're on Windows, go into the power mode and put it on the eco. Usually with laptops, you have a longer battery life, but it depends on what you have running in the background. Now, Mac, there are some stuff that you can go in and do power saving changes too. So you may want to go in and change those settings immediately, and it'll give you a little bit more time in order to run your music or whatever. But be prepared to have a backup. So let's see. What's up, Steven? What's up, Steven? Welcome, welcome. All right, now the next thing in Okay, the first one is if you don't bring your charger. You don't have a charger, your battery life has been almost depleted. That's what I can tell you about that one. Another scenario is if your hard drive crashes. Let's say you try to boot, and with Mac, you get the circle with the cross in it, or you'll get the folder that'll tell you that something's wrong with your hard drive. Now, I'm not gonna go into this one in depth. I'm just gonna on the replay, or ask me for it later, or make make sure make sure you subscribe, subscribe, share, subscribe, share, and ring that notification bell for this channel. Because what a lot of stuff that I'm going to be sharing, I won't be getting in depth because we're going into the past. I've already talked about it before. So I'm just going to tell you where you need to go. So you may have to look through previous videos that I've done in order to find that, because that is a whole nother process. And what I mean by that, in the event that you have a hard drive to crash, let's say that your internal drive, you don't even have maybe two drives, or you have an internal drive, but you use an external drive for your music. Now, there's several ways that you can do the process that I'm talking about, and I'm trying to pull one out now so I can show you. And I think I moved them to somewhere else. Oh, here we go. And I think this is one of them now. Now, there's a process that I did a few minutes ago. Like I say, the link is going to be posted across here somewhere in the replay. I'll be able to do it to where it'll pop up somewhere on screen and you can go to it from there. There was a process that I did called EHDD, which is short for emergency hard drive disk, or whatever. Hard drive. Hard drive is usually HDD. So put an E in front of it. It's emergency hard drive. But anyway, with that, and I'm not going to go into it in depth, I showed how you could take a flash drive, and it works. You could do it for Windows too, but there's a lot of more stuff that you have to do, especially if you're doing it for a specific one. But you can do it. And matter of fact, there is a flash drive, and it's more of a tech drive, which is I got two. This drive right here, which, yes, it is a Mickey Mouse drive, and the Mickey Mouse logo does light and green, which is why I used it. This was a drive that we got a few years ago that Disney sent us with their tours, their resorts, their resort Disney resort information. And so I'm like, shit, I'm not gonna let this go to waste. So then I used it. I think it's only maybe like a gig, which was enough. But this can save a person's life in a circumstance. But then I also have stuff on this drive as well. And what happens is when I stick these are like emergency boot type disk. I stick them in, and it opens up either a Windows 10, a Windows 7, a XP type operating system directly from the drive that I can use to do certain technical stuff. I can run a test on the hard drive. If the hard drive is not bootable, but it's still accessible, I can go into it and make changes or whatever, or even backup data, start to transfer data by connecting another drive or whatever. But these could possibly work in that circumstance, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is what I did with this drive, or a drive like this. And what I did, I installed an operating system on it. I pulled the hard drive, and go to the video. I pulled the hard drive out of the MacBook. And I didn't think I actually pulled it out. I just disconnect the ribbon cable from it, which basically is like pulling it out. But I didn't physically remove it. And then I stuck this in the drive and it boot from this drive. Not only did it boot, it booted from the drive. Serato DJ was installed on it. I was able to open it, and I even had music saved on it. And this one is a 32 gig. The one that I used, I think, was a either 64 or 128, which is way large enough for me to do everything on one flash drive. And if you check the video, I even did test. I even tested it. I tested it from internal mode, which is DJing from the laptop. I didn't use a controller. I didn't try that, and I do need to try that at some time to see how it'll work with hardware connected. But anyway, it worked and it served its purpose as emergency hard drive. And that's in the case that your internal drive actually fails and it doesn't boot up. And then at that point, one thing I did, either the secondary, because that MacBook had two drives in it, two hard drives in it. The other internal drive in it that had the music on it, it was able to play from that. But you could also use an external. Of course, you're going to have to route it, do reconfigure your Serato or whatever DVS you're using, so it will be able to read the music from that drive. So emergency hard drive. You could do it from a flash drive. That is number one. That's another way that you could do it. Another way is that you could have your laptop to boot directly from the external, even the external that you have your music on. And this is another thing that I would recommend on the drive that you have your music on. Partition a small amount, partition about 30 gigs partition about 30 gigs on that drive, install an operating system on that partition, and then also install whatever DVS that you're using. So that way, in the event that your internal drive fails, your internal drive fails, it will boot, or you can boot from this disk. And like I say, Mac is much easier than Windows. You can do it on Windows too. There's just a lot more that you have to do. You have to do actual drivers. Doing it's actually like doing a brand new driver install. So what you want to do if you're creating one, whether it's on the actual external drive or even if it's on the flash drive, just disconnect it, disconnect the internal drive inside so it doesn't see it when you're using that process, but then put these in place of that internal drive, that partition that you have on here and this drive, so it will boot there. Then at that point you remove it, connect your original drive back, and everything is normal. So then in the event that hard drive, the internal hard drive fails, you bring these two into play, and whichever one you have, you connect it, and you're it most likely, because your laptop won't see the internal anymore. It'll be inaccessible. You may even have to, on Windows and Mac, you may have to manually make it make it see that drive, which that's a different thing to discuss. Well, I'm gonna put it like this: on Mac, you hold down the Option key, hold down the Option key, and it'll give you your options. You select your flash drive or your external drive as a option, and it'll boot up to it. On Windows, what you need to do is hold down F12 when you're booting, and you will get a set of boot options. And the same thing, you choose the drive, whichever one that you're using, that you want it to use as the first boot or the first drive that it sees. Use that, and you're on your way. Of course, you're gonna have to do these. You're gonna have to do this process every time that you reboot. So if you install something and if you have to reboot, most likely you're going to have to go through and hit either the option or the F12 again in order to get that out the way. All right, so that is scenario number 2, that your hard drive fails. What would be another scenario? Anybody got any ideas on another scenario, or give me another scenario? Give me another idea if you have an issue with laptop only. I want to hear laptop only, not controller, not mixer, not decks, not speakers. We starting from the beginning at the laptop. If you want to know um, if so and so happens with your computer, how can you recover from it? And so far, I've listed 2 things, and that's if you forget your charger, computer freezing. Computer freezing is easy. If your computer freeze, by the time it's frozen up, your music is already stopped. So the only choice, and let me go ahead because Jamal asked that question. I saw him when he posted it. So let me go ahead and pull his comment up so everybody will know that he asked that question. Oh, now you really getting into it now. Okay, let me get into his first one. Computer freezing. If your computer is frozen, most likely if it's frozen and the track is currently still playing and you can't move, you better start getting them damn mic skills out. Pull them damn, and that's important thing too. I'm not gonna get into it because it's not thing here, but it with this, you need to so-called buy yourself some time. So you need to get on the mic. The music is stopped. You're capturing everybody's attention with the mic. If you have an MC with you, use his ass, get him out there, have him engage with some people. um, Always carry a mobile device. Carry a mobile device or a phone or whatever, so you can plug in using the aux cord, which we'll get into that in the next topic or whatever. But make sure that you have something to back you up, because when the computer freezes, the only thing you can do is restart. And with that restart, you can have 2 problems. The computer froze for a reason, meaning that something is failing and it won't boot. Then you're at this point. You're at one of these points. Yeah, if the computer freeze, you better get them games ready. I mean, that's why I say people need to you need to get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone and learn something new, because I'm not going to say that these things happen to everybody, but it can happen. You just need to have a contingency plan in place so you can get out of it. All right, so computer freezes. Computer freezes, nothing you can do but restart. That's the best thing you can do. And with that restart, the only thing I can say is make sure your laptop is running fast. Make sure if put a SSD drive in it so it'll boot fast. Get that RAM up to whatever the max is. If you're using a weak processor like a i3, Intel i3, or maybe even i5 or whatever, you know, i7, i9, uh, i7, i9 for Intel. On the AMD side, and don't I don't want to hear the discussion that you can't use AMD with Serato or whatever. That stuff is bullshit now, because I've been using AMD since 2008. All my computer bills have been AMD. The computer that I'm using right now is a custom built AMD Ryzen 7, 32 gigs of RAM. It has an NVMe hard drive, which is like a RAM stick, and I think that's 256, 256 or 512. I don't know. I can't remember what the size is, but it's one of those two. And I got like 2 other drives, maybe 3 other drives, regular mechanical drives inside of it. So don't don't come at me with that AMD stuff, because I'll talk you down with it all day long. But anyway, make sure your specs on your computer is up so that when you do restart, it doesn't take a minute or 2 minutes to restart. It only takes the fast computer now can reboot in like 20 seconds from the time you hit restart and the time the desktop comes back up. is usually 20 to 40 seconds, which gives you a little bit time of talking or mingling or whatever to get it back up. If anything, your DVS may take a little bit longer depending on your music, your crate sizes, or whatever. So with computer freezing, that nothing you can do but restart. That's the only thing I said about that. Now let me get into your other one. Now you really came out of it with this one. Cracked screen. Oh, hold on. Got some moisture there. Hands were wet. Okay, where's my cursor at? All right. Well, I'll pull it up in a second because I gotta let my trackpad dry out because I put a little moisture from my cup. There we go on my trackpad. So cracked screen. And I'm gonna switch to water in a minute. If you have a cracked screen, you are fucked. The only thing I can say about that is you better be using a NS7 III that has a screen, or you better be using either a Pioneer DJM or whatever the mixer is, the S11 that has a screen on it, or even the Rain 72. You better use something to where whatever is on the screen that's supposed to be on your actual screen is on a hardware screen. What you can do, and here's something that you can do, there are specific apps. There's specific apps. Oh, see, now you really, you getting it. Damn, you finna put I don't know, I may have to go and get the gallon jug of water right here. He just posted another scenario, but I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna bring them all up. I'm gonna bring them all up. Have a solution for it. Now, with the cracked screen, here's a solution that you can get by with. You can do a mirrored screen. Now, what I can tell you to do in a circumstance like that, bring an extra monitor in case something like that happen. Leave it in the car. I mean, it could be even a simple VGA monitor, a little 15-inch monitor. As long as you got the right cables to connect it to whatever laptop that you're using, you can do it that way. Now, the thing is, if it doesn't automatically see that screen at the time that you connect it, and if the screen is cracked so bad where you can't see how to make it transfer over to the external screens, then you may be in trouble. Now, there is an app, and I haven't used it in a while, but I've used it before. There's an app to where you can use your iPad. You can use your iPad as a secondary screen to where whatever that you're seeing on your main screen can be transferred to this. And I've seen people where they had their laptop sitting in front of their setup, and this was like the actual screen. You didn't see a laptop anywhere. All you saw was an iPad. Excuse me. And the thing that you thought was that, damn, they put Serato DJ on, or I think at that time Scratch Live. They put Scratch Live on an iPad too. No, it wasn't that. It was that they were doing a Wi-Fi or ad hoc mirroring to where it was mirrored onto the iPad, the exact same screen. That can save you in a pinch too. Now, I'm gonna get out of that because you gave me you put me a little thought right there. Now, crack screen, that's a little severe, but I did come out with some choices. The thing is, will you be prepared for those choices? And like you said, I mean, this is good stuff because it can happen to somebody. And Eric, you and Steven know from experience, when I mention something here, it's bound to happen. So if I see it or if you see it, please tag me. Please tag me so I would know about it. And I will tag y'all as well as I always do. Now let me get into this next one because You are really trying to make this longer than 2 hours. Thank you, Eric. I ain't even got out the first one yet. Good thing I only did 4. All right. So the next one, drop liquid or your cup. Now this one happens often. There was a there was a there was a video with Baby Drew, and he was doing his Sunday brunch thing, and he was walking around videoing, and people were standing around the DJ. They had their cups and stuff all over the equipment. Man, I lost a lot of heartbeats that moment. I mean, they didn't like skip, they like long jumped out of my body. So with that spill into your laptop, it's gonna be on, because at that point you need to shut shit down now. Shut it down. The what you want to do in the event that you do get liquid into your laptop, you want to turn it upside. And this depends. If this happens like immediately, then immediately open the laptop up and let me hold one out. So all right, 2011 MacBook Pro I got here. And let me take your comment off so y'all can see. And I'm gonna stand up when I do this. And turn the banner off too. All right, get back to the comments. All right, now this is drop liquid on from your cup on the keyboard. All right, now in the event, and now in the event that it's a large spill, you want to act immediately. First thing you want to do, and let's just say, here we go scenario, this cup, and it's empty. I made sure while y'all weren't looking, I was shaking it to make sure ain't not a damn drop in it. Let's say somebody automatically, boom, they spilled a whole thing of soda in your cup. First thing you want to do, disconnect the power. Immediately disconnect the power, because not only can it blow out your MacBook, it can blow out your charger, and it can possibly kill the whole circuit to whatever that's connected to. If you got a power strip or whatever, then you lose your speakers. Well, you lose power to your speakers, your controller, and anything else connected. So since that's a quick do, immediately pull that off and turn it upside down so it's parallel like this. I don't know if I'm holding it level. You want to hold it so it's parallel like that. So you might have to turn it, you might have to lean it across the table. If you lean it across the table to where the screen is over the edge of the table, and your MacBook, the keys and stuff are on the table, and you may want to take a shirt, or if you have a towel or whatever, fold it and put it up on it. But hold it like that. And the next thing to do is to turn the power off. Do a hard shutdown. Now I'm gonna tell you, at that point, the damage can be done quickly to actually blow everything out. It will probably stop working, but the thing is, you're stopping it from spreading to maybe the logic board or hard drives or whatever, because you really don't want to lose your hard drive data. You may be able to get by if the laptop, it says, if itself dies, but if you could pull that hard drive out and then back up your music and whatever other data you got on it, then you good. That's if you keep stuff on it internally. Now, in most cases with this one, it's gonna go in, it's gonna go in through the keyboard, because there's gap spaces around the keyboard. Now, with you turning it upside down quickly, that's keeping the liquid from flowing to the bottom of the case. So you don't want the liquid to flow all the way down from top to bottom. by turning it down, you're keeping it on this side and it's going to start to drain out. One thing I can also tell you is to have a screwdriver kit on you. And that's something that I'm probably going to be mentioning down at the end. But have a screwdriver kit on you and start to remove the screws off, so you can tilt it one way. I'll probably say if you have this particular version that has the optical drive on it, tilt it so it flows out through that way instead of flowing out through this way where all your ports are, and it's going to shorten everything out. Now I have a actual hard drive here, so I would probably tilt it like this to where it will come out of the corner or out of a way where there's nothing in it. Because the thing is, you don't want the liquid to hit electrical contacts, and you got this damn lithium ion bomb inside of here that you never know what may happen to it. And I'm gonna tell you from experience, I've seen, well, nope, I haven't seen it, but I've experienced lithium batteries exploded. I had a lithium battery for my drone. I had it charging on the pool table. Well, let me mention this. It wasn't on the original charger. I had a lithium battery charger for just charging lithium batteries that I was trying to revive the battery. It had an issue where it wouldn't charge anymore. And um, I'm just gonna put it like this. I tossed the pool table out a week ago yesterday, a week ago today, and I had it sitting on the pool table. I tossed the pool table out because it burned that side. It burned that pocket that it was near, the actual netting in the pocket. It burned. There's burn marks all over the table. There's even stuff on the carpet and the workout floor pads and stuff. So them lithium batteries ain't no joke. It didn't explode because lucky that I did. I had it in one of the pouches, a case that you put those type of batteries in that you use to transport them. I had one of those cases, and that's what I had it sitting in that when it was charging. So it didn't get as bad as what I thought, but it did. It did some damage to the pool table. Really wouldn't worry about the pool table because it was something I got from a neighbor, and nobody wasn't using it anyway. So tossed it out last week. All right, so that right there is now, as for recovering and continuing from that on, no, bro, you done. That is over. When that liquid got inside, the part is over. You might well turn the lights on and start packing up. It's time to go home because somebody done fucked up. Either you, which I hope that you don't never do it, or your guest, which means you about to get a new Mac laptop on this drunk trick. So make sure that keep people away from your table. So I don't think I can say what that is. Don't put your request sign out so that can run them off and keep them away. But usually it don't, because you have that person that comes up to you. Hey, you can, hey, can you play? Can you play? Can you play? And as drunk as they are, their balance, coordination is not there. So something's gonna come out the cup of glass. But I'm sure a lot of you guys in your riders or in your contracts have that any circumstances that happen like that, the client is to pay, even if that's their guess, or even if it's them themselves. If if it's on them, if it's somebody that's not in your team or your group or whatever, then they should pay. But make sure you have that in your contract. And Eric, I hope that do you have another one for me, Eric? I'm sure you could probably come up with another one because I was not expecting this one, but good thing you did because I had something to say about it. But all right, that is going to water now. All right, so that's it. And I've gone about an hour just on that one topic. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the other topics. All right, let's get okay, so now we've covered the laptop. We've covered the first step, where your music is coming from. Let's cover your source, the source that you're using to play your music from. And that one will be any failures or any issues that you have to your mixer, your controller, or even your deck. This is all your source stuff. Let me see, because did you have another question? Okay, good. All right. Ooh, okay. All right. So failure to your mixer, your controller, your deck, or whatever. Now, first, let's go, just like what I did with the first one, let's go into what essentials that you need to carry. Now, the main essential that you need that you probably won't find everywhere is your cables. Having the right cable and having several of them. I would say for every device that you have 2 to 3 spare cables. And you may want to check those cables um, at certain times. Go into your gear bag and check the cables. Take something that you have that you could test it with, even if it's like a printer or something. Make sure that they work. Now with the cables, and I said I was going to bring that up in this part, having good cables or wait. Okay, let me. I'm gonna answer this one. Let me get this one real quick. Person tripping over electrical. Plug that thing back up, because everybody is gonna know what's gonna happen. Of course, they're gonna look at you first. They're gonna look at you first, and if it's evident that we know who tripped over it, then that's where everybody's directing next. Because if you're looking down and if you see all your power is off, you're going to look and trace where your power was going. And if you saw somebody that's trying to either plug it back in, or they just passed the area where they tripped, and you look over and you see it's disconnected, then you could point out that guy. That person right there killed the party. So the only thing you could do, person tripping over the cord, over electrical, plug it back in, reboot everything back up, continue the party. That's about it for that one. So back again, we're on the source now. Mixer controllers deck. This cable right here. This is probably the cable that I will tell people to have. Now, I'm gonna let you know this, and I've said this many times before. The cables that manufacturers send you are bullshit and trash. Put them in a closet or keep them as third, last resort spares. Go out and get you some good cables. If you're using like this one, the USB-C with the house shape symbol on the end for USB, make sure you get a cable that has these 2 black items on it. And this is you see that I have it labeled controller. This is one that I have for my NS7. I use in the NS7 case. I keep this one in the case. Only reason I don't have it in there because for some reason I took it out and I'm using it here. But this is the cable that you want to have. You want to have a cable that's somewhat like this. The thickness, it matters. It matters how thick it is in some cases, and you can't just really feel it and touch it like, oh, that's thick, so that's got to be a good cable. No, it not all cables aren't like that. What you have to do is check what's on the cable, and this is an okay cable. Check the conductors and then the wire on it. You may not or may be able to see that. It's real small and white, so you may not be able to see that. But check your cables And what you're looking for is 2C, which is two conductors, and then with a slash and 28 AWG, and that's the gauge size, meaning that's the thickness of the actual cable at that point, that each specific cable. And the lower the number, the thicker the cable. So if you got a 28 says, let's use an example. Let's say this is a 28, this is a 26, this is a 24, this is a 22. So instead of larger numbers meaning larger cables, smaller numbers meaning larger, thicker cables. So make sure that you have one that has a good amount of thickness on it. But a lot of things people overlook is that having these devices attached on them, and these are permanently attached devices. It's like, nah, that can't. I probably can take it off if I cut the cable and slide it off, but these are like made onto the cable. And what these are used for, these are used to tune out or to clear any RF frequencies that may be coming from the power. If you have these running close to power cables, like say for instance your mixer, your controller, or whatever, there may be interference that may bleed into your signal cable. And these cables only have 4 pins, but believe it or not, only 2 pins are being used for signal. And the way that your signal travels, it doesn't travel in like a one-way, two-lane. It's like a one-way, well, a two-way, one lane. So signal goes this way, then okay, you pass, you could go this way. It's kind of like construction on the road where you have the guys with the signs, slow, and then they let a certain amount of cars go this way, a certain amount of cars that way come by. It's unidirectional, I think. Unidirectional. This way, that way, not bi-directional to where they both travel, because you can only send one signal at a time in another direction. So 2 pins, 2 pins are used for your signal. The other 2 pins are used for the power if needed. So make sure that you get a cable that's like this, a good brand to choose, and there's two. One is called I think UGC, UGA, or something like that. I got a case, and I'm trying to see if I can look at it real quick to see. But anyway, I need to make note. I'm gonna start making notes in a second, so I know to add in. So I know to add in recommended equipment or so forth. Okay, there we go. Got a little bit more room. It is called. Okay, where's the damn case at? There it is. I was looking right at it. UDG, and for some reason it's the same company that make this Scratch Live sound card bag. It's UDG, and you can go. I think it's udggear.com, but I will put up the Amazon link. And then there's also the Chroma cables. Chroma cables is also a good cable, which they come in a wide variety of colors, and you can get them in right angles, which is a good thing to have depending on what you're using. If you have like, and how much space that you have. But with the Chroma cables, I know the Chroma cables have both um, ferrite choke on each end, and they're actually much smaller than this. So if you can find them bigger sizes, and also I'm gonna put in the link for, you can actually, if you have a good cable already, like me, I use Monster cables. I have Monster USB cables. You can buy the chokes alone and attach them to the ends of the cables. And I think you can get like 10 or 20 for like $10 or something like that, $5 or $10. I'll make sure that I list that as a Amazon affiliate link so that y'all guys can go get. All right, now what was that? Cables. Besides that, okay, preach. Gotcha. Besides your connection cable, make sure you have extra power cables for every device that you have that requires a power cable. Have 2 to 3 different cables, different lengths and different, well, I guess different lengths. It would be the best of it. But I mean, as for what I'm talking about right now, as for controllers, mixers, and decks that you want to have the same type of IEC, which is your standard power cable. But in some cases, you may have a device like some controllers. Pioneer controllers come with power wards, so power blocks, like similar to these. And I've also seen this before as well, where people have forgotten this at home. If you forget this at home, you're out of luck. You can't use that controller. And the only way you're going to be able to get by it, you have to go use your DVS program in internal mode. You can't use the hardware. Now, there's some controllers that only uses USB where the power from this is used. So then that's what you have to use in that case. So that's another thing. Make sure you have a spare one of these. Or the thing is, never take this out of your bag. When you finish your gig, put it in the bag, leave it in the bag. If you use that controller at home, then you need to have two. If you ever use any of your equipment at home, have 2 sets of cables, not just power, but just data as well, and anything else. So it could be something that you won't forget. So make sure that with not only with this, but that you also have another one of these. And this is something you're not going to be able to run to Walmart or Best Buy or whatever to buy. You may have to order, because I remember one case with a DJ. He had issue. I think he lost his, or uh, he forgot to he forgot it at an event. He tried to get another one, but nowhere had them locally. And so he had to order it, I think, directly through Pioneer or something like that. So make sure you get another power cable. Other than that, other audio cables to include that I'm not going to show because I don't have them near me. XLR cables for your mic. Have at least 2 or 3 of those, various lengths. RCA cables, make sure you have some of those if you're using stuff that requires RCA connection. Um, Also, let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything else. Quarter cables, 1/4 inch cables, in case that you need to connect that. Say if you have an XLR cable that goes out, you can use quarters instead for your quarter inputs or whatever. So um, just making sure that you have a lot of cables, and that you have cables of various lengths, and then backups for those cables. There was one other cable, power, XLR, quarter, RCA, uh, USB, and you may want to have different types of USBs as well. Like if your external hard drive takes a specific, like this one, these cables are hard to find locally. Even when Frost was here, I couldn't find them, but I found someplace where I was able to buy like a bulk of them, and I got like 2 bins of them cables. And if anybody needed them, I got them $5 a piece. If you have, and then they're flat cables too. They're flat. They work. They work pretty good. They're flat, so I wouldn't necessarily do a lot of bend and jerks. They can be backup cables or cables that you use at home, especially if you don't move the drive as much. You plug it in, it sits. You shouldn't have any issues out of it. So that. Another thing, headphone cables. If you use headphones that have removable cables from the ear cup and from the jack, you want to have maybe 2 of those. I would say 2 or 3 because in scenarios you can use them for other things, other instances. So when I get to that, I mentioned so have at least 3 because you want to have one for your headphones, and then you want to have 2 or 3 for standby. And I think that's it as for cables. Now I'm gonna go in to scenario, and let me pull up my banner and get me a sip real quick. So now failures with mixers, controllers, and decks. I'm about to now talk about what you can do or scenarios. All right, Eric, go ahead and toss them at me. I know you got some. Go ahead and toss some scenarios besides the one that I'm about to mention. Okay, now the first scenario, and I'm gonna go by what I'm looking at now. I got all right, let's go back. Let's go back old school. You're using turntables and the tip on your needle goes out. Do you know what to do? Now, if you're doing an all vinyl set, you're about to have an interesting night because what I'm about to say is if you don't have a backup needle, which let's add that too. Let's add backup needles. Let's add backup cartridges, backup headphones. Backup headphones. You need an extra. You may need an extra pair of headphones. If the cup in one goes out, you can reach in, get another bag, and put in another. No, somebody mentioned about using Bluetooth headphones. Don't ever try that shit. That's future me. That's future me telling you don't try that shit because you're gonna have so much latency. Your mix is gonna be off like crazy. So don't try that. Even if they make it, don't try it because they'll be close, but there's gonna be a tiny little smidgen of error. Maybe when USB Bluetooth 10.5 come out, maybe, but I think now that Bluetooth 5.0 don't it's it's not ready yet. Not ready. So don't worry about doing that yet. Let me see, because I'm sure you probably got some. Oh my goodness, this is funny. He said, "Leave him alone. I'm trying to eat. Leave me alone. I'm trying to eat." You got a funny turntable store needle turntable needle storage here. All right, I got one too, but let me finish this up. All right, so needle on your turntable goes out. You only got one deck. That's what that's what you're gonna have to do. Unless you got your phone, you can connect in. But the thing is, you can still use one deck. Say if you're using an all vinyl set, that will be your hardest. Now, if you got your Serato as your backup, you pull your laptop out, you you set Serato up or whatever DVS you're using, and your mixer is DVS ready, then you can go to doing instant doubles on one deck, or you can play off one deck. That's something that you can do. Or you can play off the laptop alone to where you're not doing vinyl anymore. That's the best way I can tell you to get out of there. I can't tell you go get uh go get a needle, go get a needle and bend it, or a stick pin and bend it and stick it in a certain place in the cartridge and let it play. That's some MacGyver shit, which I'm not going to get into today. So we're gonna we're gonna push that past and say with that, roll with one deck. You're gonna have to go with one deck or use a different source. If you're using a Rain mixer or a Pioneer mixer that has DVS, pull that laptop out and change it. Because if even if it was a vinyl set, the vinyl set just ended unless you finna show your skills on one turntable. So at that point, that has ended. Now let's go vinyl. And well, I don't need to go into it again, because if you're using the turntable, your needle, one of your left needle bottoms out, and you're doing absolute. I mean, no, you're not doing absolute. You're doing relativity mode, or you're using DVS with vinyl. Then you just go to using one deck. You you mix with one deck. You have the left deck in internal mode. You have it. You mix and send that next track, the future track, over to where the other deck is, so you can change up. There's a way that you can do it. You can do that. I know some people that only take one deck and a mixer with them. They won't take a second deck, or they may not have a second deck to use. So you can do just one deck, and that's with DBS. If you're using like phase, same thing applies. If one of your phase transmitters goes out on you, stop charging, or it loses battery charge, then you need to go to internal mode on that side and use the other mode. But in most cases, if one is going to die, the other one is probably going to die, especially if they have good batteries and they started at the same time. So at that point, you need to go internal mode for both of them and let them charge up enough to where you can use them again. That's with phase. All right, now let's see. Um, and also power, anything that happens to that turntable. Something is spilled on it, the power cable is cut, the RCAs are damaged, anything that happens, the scenario that I just mentioned is going to apply. You either go to the work one, continue using the work one, or you go to internal mode, or you go to some other source that you can use. So that goes for the decks. If you're using Rain 12s, no power, then you need to go to the work one. If you have no power on both of them, then you need to go to the laptop. Simple as that. Now let's go to controllers. Controllers. If you have no USB connection, if you lose connection and it's USB connected, restart, change the cable. And like I said, use a good cable. Pull the wrong cable out. Use a cable like this one, because you may have that cross interference between the power, especially if the power is near the USB, which is like on this 62 mixer, power's right here, USB is like right below it. So there can be some interference that's crossed between there or whatever. So make sure that you use the cables with the ferrite. All right, with the controller, let's say power went dead. Power went dead, then you're going into internal mode. Go into internal mode. You can't do an aux cable because you don't have the you don't have the you don't have the controller powered up in order to use it. Now, you can bypass the controller and connect your phone directly into, if you have a line mixer, which is recommended to take a line mixer so your volume and your headroom is a lot more. You're not driving everything past 12 o'clock. Everything is at 12, but you have one knob on your mixer that's set at unity or gain. That's adding more headroom. Even if you change the gains on it, you can get a little bit more. So make sure that okay, where did I stop? Make sure that you're using a line mixer if you can. Now we can bring this into the picture, and I want to list this last because there's so much that you can do to this. I don't want to list it in with the mixer controller, the laptop, or anything else. I want it to be its own little point because there's a lot of stuff that it can do. But if you have one of these, this is the time to bring it out, connect your phone to it, your speakers, and set your volumes and your gains, and you're done. All right, mixer, USB cable. If you lose signal, restart, change it out. If you lose power, change out the power cable, see if that changes. If the power doesn't come back on, then you have an internal problem. Um, Anything gets spilled on automatically comes out. Anything gets spilled on, party is over, especially if it's a guest. You immediately shut it down right then. So your clients know that one of their guests fucked up and that they've ruined their wedding or whatever, and the DJ can't continue. If they tell you continue, fuck that. Stop. Get the hell out of there. You done. Charge it to them, get your money, get your equipment back, or whatever. Take them to court if you have to, or whatever. But make sure that you get yours because they are supposed to be in charge of their guests. And some people may need to leave signs, post signs at the door saying if your ass get too drunk, you need to go. All right, so guess about it. Anything? Are you done eating, Eric? Let me eat with chicken nugget real quick because you got me. You over there eating, so I want to eat too. So you got anybody got any other scenarios? All right, let me mute real quick so I'm not chewing in y'all ear. But I'm gonna pause for a second, see if we got any scenarios before I move to the next section. If you got any other scenarios, go ahead and toss them into the comments so I can put them out. And this is mixers, controllers, decks. I think I've covered everything I can with it. Spills, it's over. Anything damage wise, need to end it and it's over. Especially if it's a guest of the client, then the party's over. Lights come on, mic come on. Hey everybody, we hope you had fun. But unfortunately, the DJ is out of commission because Billy Bob right here came over and spilled his drink into my brand new 2022 MacBook Pro. So we have to shut it down. Thank you for everybody for coming. We are out. Peace. Mic drop, of course, on a pillow. So go ahead and put those comments in while I smack down on these last few pieces of chicken real quick. Because Eric, you wrong. Because I didn't finish eating either. So go ahead and put that comment in so I go ahead and get that scenario before I move on. All right, I'm done. And I was trying to think, was there anything else that I may have forgotten? Um, One thing that I forgot that you may want to have as well is if you're using needles and turntables. Okay, what did you have, Eric? You said you finished eating real food. What did you have? Because I had chicken nuggets and fries, and it wasn't McDonald's. I cooked them, so used the air fryer. So they were made in the air fryer. That's why I went from 9:30 to 10, because I had to make sure the kids eat dinner before they go to bed. So man, you are the devil. Just like I told my wife yesterday, you are the devil. She left a container that holds 3 Krispy Kreme donuts in the middle of the coffee table. And it wasn't sitting on the coffee table. It was sitting on top of a cup or something. It was sitting on top of something. So it wasn't sitting on the table like right here. It was elevated up high. So as soon as you come down the steps and turn toward the family room, which the table is in line of sight, you see this box that says Krispy Kreme. She only ate one donut. So guess who ate the other two? And I told her, you are the devil. And just like with her, I sprinkle you with holy water because y'all wrong. Now I'm worried about this. What you said about those M&Ms. I ain't had M&Ms, peanut M&Ms, in a while, and you know peanut M&Ms is my thing. I I like peanut M&Ms over jelly beans. Now, if you said gummy worms or gummy bears, them jelly beans be pushed to the side. Then you said you had lamb over rice and a salad. Now I can dig that salad, but you don't have another scenario, so this story moves on. We're about to move on. All right, let's go to the next one. Now we've troubleshooted from the beginning to the middle. Now we're down to the end. We're at the end source, and this is issues with speakers and troubleshooting. And I only have a few troubleshooting tips to share with that and stuff that I want to explain, which I do have stuff here on hand. Now, with speaker issues, the most common thing people have with speaker issues is not knowing how to set their gains and their volumes. They're overdriving. What you should be doing during your event, during and a few minutes that you have time to walk around and check to make sure that your limiting light is not coming on continuous on your speakers, because you can turn your volume up. The people can be dancing and you can be turning it up to get them crunk, but you're not paying attention to what damage that you're causing to your equipment. So in that case, you need to go around, take about a minute or so, walk to your left speaker, walk to your right speaker, walk to your equipment, and see what's going on besides for what you can see from where you're working. And a lot of DJs, they don't even they're stuck on their screen so much that they don't see other stuff that's going around. So making sure that you check the condition of your speakers at that time will save you a lot of times from issues. Also making sure that anybody hasn't kicked any cables from up under the table or out of the way, your gaffing tape is still holding down or whatever. Walking around and checking stuff to make sure nobody doesn't trip or fall is an important thing to do. And you need to do that regularly. That's just like walking around and checking the air pressure in your car tires. May not be something you think about. And also checking the tread on your tires. That's one thing that I do every now and then when I park. I do a hard turn the wheels in one direction because you can see the treads on the tires easily that way. And then you can probably take a finger, stick a finger in the tread nearest to the outside and the tread nearest to the inside to tell if the tire wear is wearing off on it, if it's wearing evenly or if it's wearing more to the inside and less to the outside. Then you need to do alignments and stuff. So walking around, checking on your equipment, that's an important thing to, I would say, to help to start off to make sure your equipment is good. Yep, because like Eric said, distortion is a mother funny. You do not want distortion coming out of your speakers because it will eat those voice cords up. So make sure that you have your gains and your volume set right. Also check your cables. Probably most likely between I'll probably say every week, every 2 weeks, or even bi-monthly, check your cables to make sure that everything is good. And now I'm gonna hold this up, and I actually got two. I may grab my original one too. I just bought this one last week at favorite store, Goodwill. Brand new condition. Tree 99. Tree 99. 299. Okay, 299, not 399. 299. Brand new. It probably got more scuffs on it now than what it did when I got it out the store because I've been using it and it still has the plastic on the screen. But anyway, this is for those that you don't know, and you probably won't be able to see it because my chroma key is acting mother funny. But anyway, this is a multimeter. And with the multimeter, okay, that was not good. With the multimeter, what you want to use on the multimeter is the continuity. The continuity feature on it will save you a lot of time when checking cables because you take one end and all you do, you check the same two cables in that. So and I'm going to set it, if you can see the settings, the ones in the orange that I don't have it set right here where my finger is. If you see the one that has like the signal type icon, which looks maybe like a Wi-Fi turned sideways, that's what I want to set it to. So I turn the meter to that, and now it's set where I want it set. But now I need to push the button to change the function. And let me turn the light on. Maybe it won't show. Damn chroma key. All right, so let me go ahead and set it where it needs to be set. All right, so that's where it's set right there. And you probably won't see it because my chroma key, since it has a greenish tint with it, it's acting with my background and I had to change stuff in OBS. But anyway, what you want to do when you're testing one cable from end to end, what it's going to do is going to emit a beep. And so that's what you want to look for. And you can test if you have cables coiled, you don't have to uncoil the cable. Actually, having the cable coiled up works best so that your two ends are close to each other. You don't have to bring them close together. They're close to each other. and you're just touching one end, which may be labeled 1, and you're touching the other one that may be labeled 1, and it will produce that beeping sound. Basically, you're running a straight loop. It's like running a wire from this one to this one. Now, if you don't hear that sound, then there's a break in that cable. And either you need to toss the cable or you need to get it fixed. But these right here are lifesavers. You can get these from Harbor Freight Tools, and I will also list that in the comments later on to where you can find a good budget one. I'm gonna list the basic one, and the basic one I would say use that one for like batteries, but the one that I list as basic, it won't have the features as this to where you get a beep. You would get a numerical change on the screen. It may go 0 or it may go to a high resistance. So having the one that beeps, that makes an audible sound, works out a lot better than one that doesn't. I mean, these meters can serve a lot of purpose as well, like testing your power cables. Make sure you test your IEC cables that connected to the back of your controller and your mixer. You could also, if in the event that you at an event and say for instance, you're using a power supply like this, you could test it on site. By testing it on site, if and you got to look at everything in both directions. If this is working, then look this direction. You look in the opposite direction. You're looking toward the equipment. There's something wrong with the controller or the equipment, especially if it doesn't have power. Now, if you test this and there is no power, then this is your problem. And the best thing you can do is just replace it. With me, I'm a little bit more than that, and I would end up fixing it. I would check from the connection tip to right here to see if there's a short somewhere in the line. And then if there's a short, I'll find it, remove it, patch up the cable, and we're done. But if it's something in these, and these are, it's it's more cost efficient to buy another one than it is to fix it. But I do have a lot of them that I've opened up because they're kind of hard to find. So making sure that you have a meter to test out um, other stuff. And mostly with your meter, you're going to be using resistance or you may be using DC voltage. You would use AC voltage. And here's another thing, also have one to test the house wiring. In one of the outlets that you may be plugging your gear into, plug this into each of the sockets and put it on AC. Switch it to voltage AC, and you should be getting about 120, maybe 115 to 123 for your voltage. Anything higher or lower than that may cause issues. So make sure that you're getting the right amount of power coming in as you need. Let's see. Also use these to test your batteries. If you use wireless microphones, use it to test your batteries and that make sure that it's going good. Like for instance, I have a 9 volt here, and I'm also going to show you something in a little while that you can do with a 9 volt. So I switch my meter over to, wish it was a way I could turn this camera on overhead. I think I might be able to do it once I take this off. Now these batteries aren't exactly brand new because I got these from the church. They if the signal is not 3 bars, you replace it on the microphones. So they're still good batteries, and I just use them for other purposes. Like right now, this is a good battery, but for some reason it read, you see, that is 9 volts. Probably can't see the battery in my hand right there. But this is a brand new, this is like a brand new battery. But for some reason it read two bar signals. And maybe when I apply a load to it, it may drop. That may be the case that it dropped at that point. But you can use that to check your batteries for your mics before you start to play them. And I would suggest do that a lot. Now, next thing, besides the meter, since I've gotten into it, batteries. Make sure you have plenty of batteries. If your mic, whether you use lapel or handheld or whatever, make sure that it has a lot of batteries. Make sure you have enough batteries for it. Most people, they buy batteries by the case or by the packages. Make sure that you have batteries for whatever equipment that you need, because you don't want to be somewhere and you have to run to the nearest Dollar General or somewhere to grab a quick pack of batteries, and then those batteries can be expensive anyway. So make sure that you have your batteries. And like I said, I mentioned something with the batteries in a little while. Let's see what else. As for that, make all your cabling. Your cabling, if you're using XLRs, if you're using quarters, even if you're using RCAs, make sure that you have your cable. Make sure you have your special cables, your your adapters, special cables like what they call the aux cable, which is a 1/8, no, not 1/8, yeah, 1/8 TRS to dual or stereo RCA. And that will be a lifesaver whenever you have equipment or something to go out. Also, make sure that you have, let's see, cables, batteries, meter, um, your power cables, which at this point they will be a lot longer that you would need. Make sure you have your power cables, your adapters, your power adapters. Make sure that you have chargers. If you don't have a lot of USB ports on your laptop, make sure that you have chargers and adapters to keep your mobile devices running. Not as much for the guests, but for yourself, to where everything will be charged. What else am I forgetting? Quarters, XLRs, IECs, those are cables. Also connectors for those cables, because it may be that you may get transitioned to to just have, I don't know what I'm trying to say. But anyway, make sure you have all your cables and stuff. If there's anything I'm forgetting, because I'm about to move on, let me know now. I'm looking in front of me to see if there's anything. Also, make sure that you have your cables for your other devices. Make sure you have a spare charging cable for your phone, your iPad. If you have separate mobile hotspot, make sure you have that. Another thing that I'm thinking of that I keep a lot of, and this one is not working, but the light is illuminating so much in my face. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull it out. Have you power banks on hand? This one is a 10 this one is a 10 amp power bank that I could probably keep a lot still charged. Probably I charge my iPad maybe twice or whatever. But then I have a small one like this, and this one will probably only charge my phone to maybe 30%. Not that good, but it was free. So make sure that you have a lot of chargers and stuff. I think that's about it for that. Scenarios. All right, scenario. Let's go with the speakers itself. Let's say your speaker is sounding rough. Your speaker is sounding rough, then I would probably say that you're overdriving it. You probably are overdriving it, and you need to monitor it a little bit more. If it's somewhere where you don't have line of sight, then you might want to check it regularly, but lower your volume and gains off of it, especially if the red is peaking like this. If it's like constantly, and I'm not saying solid on, but I'm just saying that it's just like peaking a lot, then that's redlining it. You're going into the red, then you need to turn it down. Next thing is if your speaker doesn't have any power. Now, with that, I wouldn't say make the make the other speaker compensate for the one that's failed. Nope, don't do that. What you want to do is check the power cord. Make sure the power cord is not good. Check your signal cords, your XLRs or whatever connections that you have to it, and the connections it's going from. If it's a sub connected to it, it's the sub playing. If the sub is playing, then it's somewhere from outside the sub system, the sub itself, to that speaker. So check that line, check the power for that speaker or whatever. And then you can also maybe check to see if there's a signal leaving from the sub. If there's a signal leaving from the sub, then you completely eliminated the sub, period. And you need to look at the speaker itself. You look at the cabling that's connected to the speaker, the signal and the power, and then also check the speaker itself. All right, now in the event that let's see what's next related to speakers. If you hear any type of sound that's coming from your speakers that doesn't sound normal, like a popping or some type of rattling, then you got something going on inside the speaker. You either got a you got you got a busted cone, or you got a torn I forgot what the ring is called. Uh, Gasket, the basket gasket is torn, and so everything is not solid, and there's a piece that's flapping that's causing a sound. You want to get that. You want to get that fixed, replaced, or fixed, and either have it reconed or just have that speaker repaired, completely replaced. Let's see what else. Anything that I'm thinking is going to be cable wise. If you have something that's hardware, then you want to check the power. If the power's good, you want to make sure the source, the signal that's going in, is being amplified and sent out louder. If you don't have one of those, then you need to troubleshoot at one of those points in order to get everything working. What else? What else with speakers? Um, if your speaker is not pushing loud enough, then you may want to look at one of these, or you may want to look at a line mixer, something that can add a little more amplification or headroom in it. Not as much amplification where it can play off it solo, but enough to where it's boosting up the gains to where your speaker will play a lot more, and you can lower the volume on it downward to where you won't have to turn up as loud so much. Let's see what else. All right, now what I said, like what I said in the other video, take your meter, continuity check on the cables, test the cables, test each connection on the cable. If you're doing a quarter, you're testing the tip, the ring, and the barrel. If you're testing XLR, you're testing the 3 pins. So you want to make sure that you get all that done as well. All right, I think that's about it for speaker and troubleshoot. What else did I have? Did I have another one? Okay, don't need to go in this one because I went into it already, and that's cables. Make sure that you have all your proper cables and that you have at least 2 or 3 pairs of each. Never use the stock cables in a performance. Use different, better, newer, improved, upgrade, whatever type of cables. Use those in a performance situation. So don't the cable that came with your controller that you just bought yesterday, put it in the bottom of a bag, open it whenever you need it, and use the cable that somebody mentioned that they had access to. That lives around the corner or whatever. So that's what I would need to say about cables. Also, make sure you check them regularly. If they're worn or busted, can't be replaced, toss them, send them on out, and keep moving, keep it moving. That's gonna be it about cables. I think I touched a lot about cables in the other the other areas. Now I wanted to go into the drive rack, and let me create a banner for that real quick. I think that's all supposed to be one word. All right, so we're going to cables and going into the DBX Go rack, and I think that's supposed to be lowercase d. I think that's supposed to be lowercase d. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. So let's see. Now, for those of you that's been sleeping under a rock and I see that there's people that do not know it's all lowercase. So let me make that correction. I don't want them coming after me saying, "Oh, we don't use cases in our name." It's all, yep, and it's all lowercase. And they never did create another one. I thought they would have discontinued it and maybe came out with something different. They just never really went with anything else. So, all right, here's what we got. We got the DBX Go Rack, which I use here in the studio. It monitors the last output, which the signal path for here is well, from desktop computer straight to go rack, and it's connected into the little 1/8 aux and back, and then from there it's out to the speakers. It goes through the go rack and then out to the speakers. Now, for if I'm DJing, if I'm operating from one of the equipment, the mixer goes into a Behringer line mixer on the channel. That line mixer, I don't use any effects or anything on it. I actually thought that I was getting it to be used, just period, just basic, nothing really special on it. So that's when I start using it for that. Now, but this has a lot of good stuff in it that people sleep on. Like for one, the first thing, and let me go ahead, I'm gonna pull it up so everybody can see a good image of it. Do a screen share. Okay, so that's the image of it right there. And I'm gonna turn my banner off. And I'm gonna take myself out of the picture. All right, so that's it right there. That's the DBX Go Rack. I mean, it's pretty small. It's about the size of a. Let's see. I don't know what to say. It's about the size of, but it's. You can probably put it in your front pocket, but I wouldn't recommend it because it's kind of thick and it's metal. So I wouldn't. But it's. I mean, you could probably get in a pair of cargo pants pockets, but it's gonna feel funny because it's gonna be a lot of weight on your leg. So let's see. What it basically is it's like a mixer. It's like a very small line mixer. You got inputs on the back, which these are probably uh, quarters and XLRs. Then you got another set of outputs, which is probably here, or it may be the other side. But anyway, uh, that's what you hear. That's what you see. And they have independent gain, which only works if you're doing uh, solid input on it. If you have your quarters going in, then these gains are going to control it. So you can actually have mics going in, and that's what you're going to be getting. Uh, let's see. Let's try to see if it's a better picture somewhere. Nope. Let's go out of that. All right, let's go through the knobs real quick. Let's go from here. Now, these are your gains, your left and right gains, if you use the left and right and the back. Now, you could use a mixer, excuse me, not a mixer, but a microphone on each one. If you got two wireless mics or even wired mics, then you want to leave it here. You want to leave it here and adjust from this point. And you can adjust your gains right there. Now, this big knob, that's the main output. And then it also shuffles, I think it shuffles through some of the sub menus for the buttons below. All right, and then you got your LCD screen right here that's giving you your volume output. Now jumping from right to left, this right here, EQ, that's exactly what it is. It's EQ. So look out for that. if you need any EQ in. And also on the back of the device, which they don't have a picture of it here. Let's see. They should have a picture here somewhere. On the back of the device, it has what the EQ settings on it. So if you want to set the EQ, there's a setting on the back, which is like a DSP that you can go and change your device to depending on that device. All right, the next one, the subsynth. The subsynth is used for, if you could use it with the sub to add more sub harmonics or get a lower frequency to be able to get that bass, get that bass in there. So at that point, you want to, good morning. Where you at, Mr. C? Where you at, Carlton? You said good morning. You must not be in the States. How's everything going? All right, so with the Go Rack EQ, you got a gain, your main volume, your LED for your main volume, subsynth that connects to a sub, your compressor. If you're using microphones, on this, then you want to use the compressor so that when somebody's talking, the volume doesn't overpeak, especially if you don't have it saved correctly. And so the thing that you want to do is turn your compressor on. And there's some settings on it. You just have to look at it on the back to know what those settings are. So it doesn't just leave you in the wind. If you go out and buy one used with no instructions, no manual or whatever, and you start to use it, something about this, that I need to elaborate on. So that's what you want to do right there. Have that compressor. And also, this is one other thing that I use mouse for, and that's the anti-feedback. The anti-feedback, and I've tested several times. I have a Mackie Thump that's probably about 10, maybe less than 12 feet away from me. And when I'm talking, my voice is not feeding back into the mic and causing the feedback. Only if I turn the speaker up real loud and cover it up and walk like next to it, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. But other than that, the anti-feedback is good. Then lastly, you got the mute button. Mute, to where you mute all sound. And I use that probably a lot whenever I'm talking on the phone. I don't have to worry about where you I need another sip. Try it out. Mute to where you could mute. Ooh, no, you didn't. I got I posted mine for sale. I got somebody that's gonna buy it. So I don't know. I may look for another one. I can probably live without it. I just gotta do more routing. Like I'm gonna have to use something to route I'm gonna have to use computer speakers. I'm gonna have to go ahead and get a little small computer speakers and sit them out. I just won't have a lot of loud PA type sound whenever I'm playing something from the computer. So, well, the money's right. Why not? So I'm selling mine too for the right price. I'm selling it $50 more than the last one I sold. I had two of them. This is my second one. Like I said, hadn't left the house, and I got the box and everything to it. So it works. I've been using it and whatever. They are a good thing to have, but right now I can use that money. anniversary coming up next month, so I need to start preparing for that. So that's it. And the mute. And what some of the things like Gary McDaniels, he he came up with an idea. He used it for something. But of course, I'm not out in the field, so I don't know what other things that I can use it for out in the field. But he came up and he used it for a mic mixer to where instead of having a line mixer, something bigger to where he could add more mics, he used it for just mics. Like say for instance, two wired mics. I think he used it for wireless and wired. It provides it probably has a better sound through it than the what the mic amp is on your controller. So he used it for a mic mixer, 2-channel mic mixer, and that sounds pretty good. Another thing, you could use it in place of your mixer or your controller alone. In the event that your controller goes down, no power, not responding or nothing, but you still got your laptop and your phone, and or even just your laptop. If your laptop is working, then go. If you're using Serato, just go through and play it in in play using Samsung. I mean, excuse me, not Samsung. Using Serato Play, that will give you access to have a fader, on-screen fader control to where you can still do blends and you can still do EQ and stuff. So you can you can use it that way. There's a lot of ways that you can use it as a backup. That's that's what I gotta say. The the choice is dependent on your circumstances. If you have the case where your controller, your mixer is not working, you can use it in those places as long as those places are not coming back to swallow you up and eat you up because of that. So I'm trying to think what other uses, and there have been a lot of other guys that's been posting the uses that they would use it. Like one said that he used it on his sub. I guess he used the sub filter, the sub synth on it to get a lower frequency and sub harmonics. You could use it for that. If you're doing a wedding or event with just if you're doing the wedding event and you're doing the ceremony and the reception, but you need something to set up the ceremony, you could take one speaker, plug it up out there, and have their sounds and everything going. It's just stuff that you're doing to create that makes it a whole lot special. So uh, that's what I'll say about that. And it's like I said, it's a heaven sent with what it can do. Just a lot of people, whether really using it or, they just haven't paid attention because there was a lot of guys that, oh, I still got that. It's in my closet, or man, I forgot I even had that thing. That's something I wouldn't put into the closet, so to say, because it still has a lot of uses on it. So um, I would I would definitely keep that in rotation. Like I said, I don't use mine a whole lot outside of what it's used for. Like other people, I mean, I have an idea of what some may use there for, but there's a lot of different circumstances that you can use for, and so a lot. I mean, I probably haven't even touched the tip. And say for instance, if your controller dies out and you do want to use it, the best way to do is to go with and this may not, well, no, I can't use that. It's not long enough. But use a 1/8 TRS with another 1/8 tip. You can even take the one that's off your headphones and that you use for headphones and connected. You're not going to need the headphones anyway because now your mixer or your controller is not working. So you don't have that key in option. So at this point, the person is using the cable and they're using a laptop and they're going directly into the Go rack into the aux, which the aux on it is not is not is not specifically uh enabled or specifically founded for one particular thing. So like I said, there's a lot of different uses for it. You just got to choose what you want to use it for. But I would say keep one in hand because man, these things, I don't know. And if anybody knows out there what item could you use? What item is it? About the same size, about the same uses, maybe not exactly the same, but close to where you can use. And here's the inputs. So what I'm looking at right here, see that aux input right there does a lot. Everything else is basic input and output. You can change. You can do a lot more. And you would have thought that, that they just wasn't continue this out, that they're coming out with another version, but they never did come out with another version. So that's a bad thing. They should have came out with another version. All right, let's see. Yep, that's it. There was a video. Trying to remember, is this one? All right. Let's see how long this video is. Okay, this is just 4 minutes. I'm gonna play this video real quick.
In this video, we will be going through all the features of the new DBX Go Rack. While the Go Rack can be used for many applications, in this example, we're going to cover how to set it up with a main PA system and powered subs. To do this, you'll need to make the connections first. Connect the main left and right outputs from your mixer to the left and right inputs of the Go Rack. Make sure the mic line switches are set to accept line input. Then connect the left output to your left powered sub, and daisy chain that to your left powered main. Next, connect the right output to your right powered sub, and daisy chain that to your right main speaker. Make sure your mixer and speakers are turned off. If you're running amps, make sure those are powered off as well. Plug in the power adapter to apply power to the Go Rack. Power your mixer first, and then apply power to your amps or speakers. All of the buttons on the Go Rack have more than one function. The mute button will mute or unmute the Go Rack's outputs, while pressing and holding this button will enter routing mode. There are 3 routing options in the Go Rack, listed here. The default is routing option 1, which sums all the inputs to mono and sends them to both of the Go Rack's outputs. Routing option 2 will keep the stereo imaging throughout the signal path. Routing option 3 sums the left and right inputs to mono, while keeping the aux input in stereo, with the option to EQ if needed. We'll choose routing option 2 for this example. In order to provide enough headroom while operating the Go Rack, you'll want to set initial system levels. In order to do this, first turn down your amps or powered speaker levels. Make sure all of the processor buttons on the Go Rack are turned off, and set the volume encoder to 70. Send signal to the left and right inputs of the Go Rack, and adjust the input gain knobs until the LEDs occasionally light orange. Turn up your amps or speakers until just under clipping. Lower the volume controls if your amps or speakers are clipping. This will improve performance. If you notice the clip indicator dot appear on the display, then you're clipping the GoRack's limiter and you should lower the volume encoder, input gains, compressor, EQ, or subharmonic synth. You're now ready to set up feedback suppression. By pressing the anti-feedback button, the GoRack will automatically detect feedback. This simplicity makes the GoRack extremely easy to use. Pressing and holding the anti-feedback button will allow you to choose your feedback options. Option 1 will offer the highest level of quality and is intended for live music. Option 2 will provide the best protection against feedback and is intended for music and speech. Option 3 is typically used for speech applications, using wide filters. We'll choose option 1 for this example. Press the compressor button to enable it. The compressor on the GoRack is a soft knee over easy compressor with a fixed ratio of infinity to 1. There's only one parameter that affects all of the necessary functions of the compressor. Press and hold the compressor button, then adjust the volume knob until you've achieved the compression amount that you want. The subharmonic synthesizer can be used when more low end is required. It analyzes frequencies around 100 Hz and creates synthesized frequencies an octave below. Typically, this is only used with PA systems that are running subwoofers. Press the subsynth button to enable it. Press and hold the subsynth button, then use the volume knob to dial in the correct amount of subsynth effect. Press the EQ button to enable EQ on the GoRack. There are 16 EQ presets available to choose from. To access and change these presets, press and hold the EQ button. What you choose here will ultimately depend on your ears and what sounds right for the venue that you're in. For this example, we're going to choose option 8. However you decide to use the GoRack, the simplicity and portability will assure that you don't compromise your sound quality. If you have any questions, please visit www.dbxpro.com.
All right, so that right there was a good insight video. I'm glad I kind of played that because that right there would clear up questions that people had about the GoRack. So I'm going to share that one. I'm going to share it later on. I'm going to share it later on to the group, to those that was asking about it. Now, what you said, and I didn't see it because my glasses were foggy and I needed to clean them. I apologize for, you said you have a drive rack, and I didn't really pay attention to it. All I saw was DBX, and I thought you said you had a Go rack. And if you don't know what the drive rack is, the drive rack is a rack mount version of the upgraded version of the drive rack. I mean the Go rack. It has a lot more features and it does a lot more stuff. With the drive rack, you can have it to balance out the whole room automatically just by having the mic, which is a RTA, a real-time analyzer mic. You set it out into the middle of your where you're playing your music, your dance floor, whatever, on a stand, and you hit a button or you put in a couple settings, and it will automatically set everything for that type of room, and you would change it. It would change with every room, and sometimes, in most cases, it will change with the same room, depending on what has occupied in the room. I have one. I don't even know. I think I have the PA too, and I have mine's for sale. I got mine's. I haven't posted it yet. I have the photos. I might just go ahead and do it when I finish because I need to get rid of that too. I bought the thing from Guitar Center outlet, which, yes, here in Georgia, we had a Guitar Center outlet. If I send you the photos of what that Guitar Center looked like, you will freak. You will crap in your drawers because the prices of the stuff there, and a lot of stuff that I got. I mean, I stayed constantly buying stuff. I'll probably say I bought more stuff at the Guitar Center outlet than I bought from the actual Guitar Center store since I've been shopping at Guitar Center. I mean, I bought a lot of stuff. There's probably stuff that I'm looking around at now that I bought, and I know of a lot of stuff. I can look at something and say, "Oh, I bought that from Guitar Center. Oh, that was something I got from Guitar Center Outlet. I got that from Guitar Center Outlet. I got that." I mean, there's probably more stuff that I got from the outlet, which only lasted for a short time, than I got from the actual store. And oh, I got the PA too. You got the one that connects with the that connects into your computer, or you can use your laptop. Heard that's a good unit. So with that, of course, I don't think there's nothing else that I can say about the drive rack. There are a lot of other features that you could probably use with it. And let's do another. I'm gonna do another video, and I'm gonna get ready to wrap it up. So let me get it prepared to share, and I'm gonna move this screen somewhere else too, because this version of Windows I haven't activated yet. So since I can use it without activating, I'm good. So let me move it to another location. Stop that. I need to share it again. Got any questions or anything? Anybody got anything that they want to share? Hope y'all was able to hear the audio. All right, so now I'm about to do another. This is a video in action, which will give most people idea as for what they can expect in action. And I think this right here will answer a lot of questions that people have had about the drive rack, because a lot of people didn't even know. And really it just hit all of a sudden as for what the Go rack will do that a lot of people didn't see. And here's a photo right here. I don't know if I can make it larger unless I zoom in on it. No. But with this photo, it shows a lot of different things that it incorporates. I mean, it doesn't exactly replace it, all this, but they took a section of each of these rack mount gear equipment and they incorporated, like the EQ. is a EQ setting that you can do with this particular mixer. The subsynth, they've incorporated a little bit of that into here. The compressor is from this original compressor. The anti-feedback is from here. The 2-channel mixer, and roughly a cost. So uh, let's see, 475, 775, 775, 925, 925, 1125, and 1175. So almost about 1200 and stuff. All right, Eric. See you later. Hope you So that comes out to 1,000. I don't know. I was guessing on the math. Yeah, it says more than 1,000. So let's see, is that 1,000? I thought it looked like it was more than 1,000. All right, Eric. See you later. Hope you have a stomach ache from them damn M&Ms you mentioned to me. You always try to rub that in my face. Good night, man. Catch you later. All right, so man, why is my phone off? Okay, it's dead. Yeah, it says 1,000, but I'm thinking that was more over than what it actually says. 300. I'm starting from the bottom. Now that anti-processor, you see right here, that's 300. That was a bulk of it. And 175. And then another 300. That's 775. Okay, 150. I think I added something wrong. 925. Okay, yeah, it's gonna be over. It's over 1,000. And yeah, I think I was right about plus 50. Yeah, a little bit over 1,100, close to 1,200 is what I rounded it off to, that it could possibly be 1125. All right, you out too? All right, yeah, because I'm about to get ready to wrap up. I'm actually done. So yeah, that was it. There's no more videos. That will but I would say if you can find one of these, because it's discontinued and they hard to find, because I did search marketplace after I said I was gonna sell mine to see if I can find me another one, because I don't want to get rid of it, but for the price, I will consider it. And if he doesn't hit me back in a couple days, I do my segment on mixers with USB. Did I say I was gonna do a segment with mixers on USB? Elaborate. Did I mention I was gonna do a segment on mixers with USB? Do you mean like line mixers that have USB, or you mean like mixers like the S9 and the 72 and stuff like that? I don't remember saying anything about mixers with USB. No. Okay. What was it? Was it something specifically that you wanted to ask me? I mean, you can hit me up at any time. Well, no, not any time. Okay. Now let me let you know. Now, since these are my hours, it's almost 1 o'clock and I'm still up. Oh, P8 mixers, the line mixers for like streaming or for like recording. But while you answer that, since I'm up right now, 1 o'clock, I'm probably gonna go over till 3 because I have TV programming that's on the DVR that I haven't watched yet. That was recorded today. So I'll probably be up for a while. I'll watch that. Then this is what I'm gonna do. When I finish, I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed and I'll watch everything while I'm sleeping. Whatever I don't finish watching, I'll watch it tomorrow, get up early, start off fresh with whatever I gotta do. So yeah, you can hit me up. I'll say noon. Don't hit me up before noon. 10 o'clock, no, no. 8 o'clock, I won't even hear it. Even if it's on top of my face, the phone could be on top of my face, and I probably won't answer it because I will be out. But I'm going to bed early tonight. Going to bed early tonight so I can start stuff fresh tomorrow. So just hit me up if you got any questions about that. But DBX Drive Rack, if you don't have one after seeing that, and if you want it tough, you're probably not going to be able to find it unless you're going to spend a grip on it. And I think with what I said, 250 that I'm selling mine for, uh, people will still buy it because it has a lot of uses. And I don't think there's nothing in that size. Okay, I got you. We'll do anything that's in that size with those features that you're going to find. So it could be worth a lot more than that, but I'm not going to really overdo it. But to toss my hat in the ring, you want to buy it for 250, I'll let you have it for 250. That's plain and simple. I'll let it go for 250. So with that said and done, if anybody wanted 250, I got somebody that's he said he would have PayPal me. Now I'm like, dude, whenever you, yeah, the Go Rack, this right here. Yep, that's what I'm referring to. Now from the video, like I said, this thing is, I haven't seen anything like it. I mean, I have a Drive Rack too, but um, other than that, I haven't used the Drive Rack and don't have it used for a Drive Rack, but I use this more. But what I might start doing now, since I'm taking the Go Rack out, I might just put the Drive Rack in its place and just use it in this studio. Even though it's a lot overkill, I don't need the harmonics and stuff tuned that bad in here, but that's what I can use it for and start getting used to it. I might just bring it in here tomorrow and just plug it up just to play around with it. Cause like I said, I never used it. Bought it from Guitar Center. I bought without the mic. I bought the mic from a store in Birmingham separately. Came with the case, everything. So it's good to go. And then I even got a 50-foot cord that I'm throwing in with it. So um that's about it. All right, real quick. And let me do this. And then I'm finna bow out because I'm closing in. I'm just gonna label it other stuff. And because there was somebody that had a question. All right, other stuff right here, and bring me back up on screen. This is other stuff. This is stuff that continuation from last week on hard drives. One thing that I want to mention about hard drives is that if you're using mechanical hard drives, which these right here, and I just happen to still have them nearby, only have a smaller one. Drives like this, keep them away from magnetism. Anything that has magnetism, even my watch band. If I put this near my watch band, which right here, it has a magnet. I can ruin all the data on this stuff. And I really need to change this band because it attaches itself to stuff a lot. So keep it away from magnetism, including sitting on top of magnets, sitting on top of speakers. Even though speakers are, the cabinets are thick and sometimes they can be shielded, which really they're not. But anyway, they're thick. The drivers have magnets, the tweeters have magnets. And if that magnetism somehow ventures outside of that shell and gets into the casing of this drive, then you lose your data. And you don't lose all of it, you just lose some of it. It's just like having metal shavings. If you have metal shavings um spread it into an area and you take a magnet and you go across one section with that magnet, you picked up the shavings, the metal shavings that magnet has come in contact with, and they stuck to that magnet. Same thing can happen with your data. You can swipe it across the corner and you could lose at least a gigabyte of data. And it's just not a gigabyte from just one file. You could use gigabyte from all different files. Because if you go back to that video, you'll see what I meant when I said that. So that's one thing that I want to mention. And but flash drives, SSDs, and other stuff do not apply to it. That's completely different. Now, there was a question asked earlier, and let me get into that question because that question was asked. That was Jamal. All right, this is the question. I got a couple hard drives that won't pull up on my 2017 MacBook Pro. Now, I'm thinking that you're talking about external hard drives because with the 2017, there's no moving parts like the drive that I just held, or even a regular SSD inside that MacBook. Mac really never made or used the traditional SSDs inside their computers. If you had from early 2012 and earlier MacBook Pros, you were able to put a SSD in it, and only certain years that you could put it in there, and you will have the full effects. Some of them you were only using partial of it. So if you're still here, elaborate on that a little bit more because I said I was going to go back to your question. I'll give you about a minute because right now I am hitting at the 3-hour mark. So hit me if you, Jamal, if you still here, uh, elaborate on this question. I'm thinking that you're talking about external drives. You got a couple hard drives that won't pull up on your 2017. So if you're using that 2017, you're using Thunderbolt 3. You're using the Thunderbolt technology. You're not using USB unless you got USB adapters. So the question is, will those drives work anywhere else? Have you tried them on a different Mac? What type of drives are they? I mean, I would need some more information. This information for me is too vague because there's a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different cases that I don't see where you're coming from. So I'm gonna tell you this: just hit me up in the Zone group, or just send me a message or whatever. And tomorrow, we can hit me up tomorrow, sometime afternoon. Inbox me on Facebook. I'm sure you can probably find me on Facebook. You know where to find me on Facebook. So hit me up there, or just put it in the comments here. I don't usually get comments in my live post, but put it in the comments and we can figure out what's going on in that situation. So as for now, we're about to wrap it up because um, hopefully I am done. The only other thing that I can say that I didn't add that I skipped with the mm, just stuff that you need to have. And let's go back to other stuff. Stuff that you need to have. All right, we mentioned cables, we mentioned drives, we mentioned power cords, we mentioned power adapters. Basically, you want to do it like an arc. You want to have your setup like an arc. You want everything by twos. You want original that you use, and you want to have a backup. Sometimes you for some stuff you may want to have more, like speaker cables. You may want to have 4 to 5 different cables, different lengths, and so forth. So you want to have a lot of stuff. One thing that I didn't mention, but I did kind of mention, is having a bunch of flash drives with music on it. Now, there is a specific drive, and I don't have it with me. And I don't know what I did with it. It's probably, I have at least 2 of them, and I don't have none of them here with me. But there are flash drives that you can buy. They're like 3 in 1, actually 4 in 1. The one that I have, it has, okay, on one end, let me hold up a regular drive. On one end, it has the USB, which is a USB 3. And then you can flip that piece out of the way at a 90, no, a 45 degree, flip it to a 45-degree angle, and it has a micro USB that you can plug into certain Samsung or Android phones and be able to add and back up data from it, transfer data or whatever. Now, if you flip it around on the other end, opposite of the USB, there is a lightning port, which you can use for most Apple laptops. No, excuse me, not Apple laptops, but Apple iPhones. Like I have an iPhone SE right here, and then I also have an iPhone 8 Plus. I can use to back up and send data onto them or whatever. And also, and this is the additive that comes with it. It comes with and I do have one of those. It comes with a USB A to a USB C or a Thunderbolt adapter to where you could use it in the newer MacBooks and the newer iPhones that have the Thunderbolt technology. So those drives are great to have. And the one that I have was like 128, and it costed about around $15, I think, something like that. I can't remember how much it was, but it was a good deal. I don't need any more right now, but if I by chance lose the ones that I have, I will be getting another one. I have 2. My wife has one. Even my mother has one, which she took the original one that I had, and then I had to go back and get 2 more. I put some family photos on it. She didn't give it back to me, so I just said, keep it. I'll just get me another one. So she has one that she can use with her phone and other stuff. All right, let's see. Oh, no problem, man. I'm always doing this, always sharing the knowledge. But other than that, that is the bulk of this show for the night. I am about done and tired. While the first video was playing, I went up to get me some more water because I had drunk it all out, and I need water down here because it's kind of a little humid. I got 2 LED lights up here. Got this LED light blinding my face. Then I got 2 22-inch screens, 2 32-inch screens, and then a 52-inch screen back there that's running. So it's not uncomfortably hot, but it's enough talking so much that that I'm drying out. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for joining in, for the comments, for basically everything, man. Y'all are the reason. Y'all the reason that I do this every week. So I keep going when, I mean, probably the most I've had tonight, and I look at it. I don't know who's here. 3 people. I know at least 3 people that I know that's going to be here. So, and then I know people watch it later on because I get I see the questions and I'm like, well, I just spoke about that last night. So then I come and then I copy and then I share the link, and that generates views. So, it may be a slow process, but you know, some people it's not an overnight thing unless you're just doing something that's just straight viral, which I haven't accomplished that feat yet to get me up to that point. But slowly but surely, it'll happen someday, or either it won't happen. I'm not worried about it. The messages that I share are stuff that people don't post. So when somebody's, and I got to do more tags too, and so eventually somebody is probably going to see something that that they've been looking for and is here. All right, enough said. Atlanta DJ Zone, you're here with the kid. Thank everybody for checking out. I will catch y'all next Tuesday. Make sure, like I said, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell right there, because I do have a ton of videos that I will be uploading soon. I need to do some editing on them first, and these are pre YouTube. This was before I even started doing to YouTube. I did them directly to Facebook, and I didn't have chroma keys and backgrounds behind me. So make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, ring that bell notification, so when they post, you will be able to see them and that information, because it won't be a live thing. It will be uploaded video. Then I got a lot of other stuff coming in. So anyway, hope everybody have a good night. Y'all stay blessed and safe. Make sure, if you haven't had your vaccine yet, which I've had mine, make sure that you stay masked up, 6 feet, social distancing, all that stuff. And, just keep safe, because we're going to get through this eventually. Hopefully there won't be another pandemic to come down and the second wave come through and then we have to start all over. Hopefully this is the end of it, and by the end of the year we'll be out of the blue or whatever. But like I said, thank y'all for checking me out. I will catch y'all next week or in the groups. Atlanta DJ Zone Tech Tuesday Live. You're signing out with the kid. Peace.